We now return to the Buller Bridge, and on the right-hand side of that, in the foreground, there is the area where Mahuika I was buried, and once again the section next to the Westport domain, which is pure virgin bush. In the foreground, we have the old Orowaiti cemetery. It is one of 3 urupa in this area. They used to bring tūpapaku up the river in canoes before the bridge was there. We move back to the Orowaiti bridge and river where the tide is out in the Orowaiti lagoon. As we enter this corridor of access, we need to turn our thoughts back to why Kehu, as an explorer's guide, became so prominent. The New Zealand Company's affairs reached a crisis when by late 1842 it became obvious that even after surveying the upper Motueka and Motere valleys and the Tākaka and Aorere districts of Golden Bay, there was still insufficient land available to satisfy the requirements of the Nelson settlement scheme. The scheme needed 221,100 acres of arable, cultivatable land, and after all of these surveys were completed by early 1843, the company was more than 120,000 acres short. It was time to look for more land. As a result of the Wairau incident, additional land would have to be found somewhere else. Brunner set out again on the 3rd of December 1846, not accompanied by any other European, but assisted by Pikiwati as well as Kehu and their wives. Pikiwati, like Kehu, had been in the employ of the Europeans since at least 1842. 2 months later, in January 1843, Pikiwati led Cotterell to discover Lake Rotuiti and the Buller River outflow. They also tramped to the head of the lake and up the Travers River for some distance before climbing to the ridge of the eastern range to find only mountains all around and not the great plains which Cotterell was seeking. Brunner arranged for the men to be paid £5 for their services, and they were supplied with outfits and stores for the journey, but he was not happy about being accompanied by the wives. The intention of this journey was to reach the furthest point of the February expedition in the Mātakitaki district and proceed from there to find a route down the Kawatiri River to its mouth, retrace the coastal route south to Arahura again, and from there as far southwestland as possible. This turned out to be the most rigorous of all expeditions ever undertaken in the colonial exploration of this country. Despite having the assistance of a mule to reach Rotuiti, it took 6 months for them to reach the mouth of the Buller. Brunner's account records with great admiration Kehu's fishing, eeling, bird snaring and raft constructions. Again they used the shelters previously built by the Maori's skills. There were many periods during which they almost starved. At one stage, May 1847, they were so desperate for food that Brunner's dog had to be sacrificed. On other occasions they sometimes waited for days until Kehu had caught every last available fish. In mid-April, Brunner suffered a severe stroke and was paralysed for a time, with lasting defects in his vision and balance as well. Were it not for Kehu and his wife, Brunner would surely have died. As a note in his diary, he notes, "Kehu refused to leave me. I received great kindness from Ekehu and his wife for the week I was compelled to remain there, the women kindly attending me and Ekehu working hard to obtain food for us all, always pressing me to take the best and frequently telling me he would never return to Nelson without I could accompany him. When they finally moved on May the 20th, 1848, Kehu virtually carried Brunner, who could only stand on one leg. Kehu would first carry their gear ahead and return for Brunner, so it went for almost a month. Out of the gorge, across Mātakitaki, up the Karamea and the Tūtaki, and back to Lake Rotorua. They journeyed back through Rotoiti and eventually to Fraser's farm in the upper Moutere Valley. The final sentence of Brunner's account reads, "I found my native Ekehu of much use, invaluable indeed. To Ekehu I owe my life. He is a faithful and attached servant." Nā reira mō e nā kōrero, e oku rangatira, a karangatanga maha o ngā mātua tupuna, horiro ki te pō. Anei tēnei te reo poheri, te reo manaaki, kia rātou, kia tātou e pai nei. Mai e nei o ngā tapuai ka haere hea e tātou. Atu rā, te mutunga o tēnei arahu, ka taipai e tātou, ki roto i ngā wawata, ki roto i te wairua, i tuku mai rātou kia tātou. Nā reire he mihi nui, he mihi aroha, he mihi wairua kia rātou, kia tātou. Tēnā koutou, anei e mihi ana. E ngā rangatira tēnā koutou. Ngāti Apa have made these films to show the huge tracts of land on the coasts and hinterland of the North Te Waipounamu that our tupuna utilised for protection, agriculture and fisheries. The footsteps and gardens of Ngāti Apa. Ngāti Apa were here. Ngāti Apa in the east and the Sounds. Ngāti Apa in the Hiwhi, Karamea and Kawatiri. We wish to pay our respects to all who gave us shelter in whanaungatanga. To all here today, we greet you in aroha.